And we're back. Some of those are a little abrupt, and I apologize for that, but because of the way that I've been uploading these videos lately, I don't think it will be that much of an issue, considering you can just watch them back to back to back. I mainly do this sectioning, like, give me a minute and talk to you. Ooh, a Bowie knife. That's nice. Last Will and Testament. Anyways, distracting myself. I'm doing that mainly just to, like, set up a habit for myself to try and get in that 20-minute sectioning. Okay, cool. Some pens, some cigarettes. Can't pick up those shotgun shells. Don't know why I would want to. Anything in your fridge? Nope. Okay. What else do you got? Okay. That was one of the first times where it was a 95% chance of hitting, but missed a shot. Mind you, I'm of the mind that 95% is more along the lines of, and we've come across our first unpickable pick lock for us until we find one. Now I can see why there's an issue with the perk card system, because it's just sinking in that I have to figure out what I have to find the proper card first of all. Then I need to put skill ups in the proper thing, and I don't recall what it is. I want to say it's perception that affects it, but it might be agility. It's either perception or agility that affects lock picking. I would lean towards perception personally, but knowing my luck, it's probably agility. Anywho, yeah, those little cuts, they're abrupt, but I'm trying to get in the mindset of, like, taking breaks like that, taking a moment to collect myself and regather my thoughts so I'm not continually droning on about the same thing over and over and over again. Because as obvious as obvious as it is that I can communicate for a long amount of time, it should also be just as obvious that I get tongue-tied and tongue-twisted, and I'll start to flip-flop and flip my words. And that's something nobody wants to hear. Nobody wants to hear somebody talking on, and they keep messing up their conversation skills so that they're having more of a straight conversation with a skunk or a raccoon or what have you than they are with the actual human being. Don't know why those were the rodents that I first thought of, with mammalians. Let's just call them mammalians because they're mammals. The mammalians that I thought of. Again, I keep bringing up, I like the idea that you can, like, just gather the wood from the logs, but the problem for me is if you had a pickaxe or a hatchet, you should be able to go up to a tree and either hit the oh wow, that was a fast. That was a fast loss of... Wait a minute. So, I have to interrupt myself twice there, because I know for a fact I got a skill point in getting 2 things of plants. Is that a glitch where I get 2 things of meat from these animals as well? Because if that is, I don't know if that's really a glitch or that's... Okay, good, I was about to say. For a minute there, I thought I was gonna be getting like 3 or 4 things of meat from the random wildlife. Starting to get a little distracted here. Anyways, going back a little bit previously. that I totally lost where my conversation was going when I got interrupted by that thought process. So we are just going to move on. I'm going to see about equipping that Bowie knife, whatever you call it. Favoriting that. Might as well favorite it all. Ooh, and a level up. Might as well. You have reached level 5. Combat with other players enabled. Oh, okay, so that makes sense. Interesting. I get quiet when I'm reading, so I apologize for that. I shouldn't actually say it out loud. But like, action points regenerate 15% faster. I'll probably do that one, honestly. Because I'm not going to be sprinting when in combat. That's more if you're running away. I gain 15 damage and energy resistance when sprinting, but not in power armor. If I get power armor, I'm going to want to use it, so that's a definite negative for me. Running speed is increased by 10% with pistols equipped. That's nice, but it doesn't really help us. Falling below 20% health will automatically use a stim pack once every 20 seconds. That's nice, but I don't like doing that because sometimes I'm of the mind that I will sit down and I'll eat 20 things of cheese to heal up before I use a stim pack. I only use stim packs in absolute most dire situations. So we're going with Action Boy because the action points regenerating that much faster is something I like. Oh, they upgrade 30% faster now, so that's pretty cool. Might as well use those because your punching attacks now do 10% more damage, something I'm probably not going to use too much, but since I have this skill card, I might as well use it. And well, below 30% health, gain a 15% chance to avoid damage. Okay, I love that. That's why I like the luck builds. I'm of the mind that luck is severely overpowered, but because of the kind of things that they do, people don't really lean towards going down those kind of roles. They kind of go more for sneaking or stealth. And I'm a big fan of stealth games. That's true. I'm gonna interrupt myself here to say if I come across any like glaring glitches or bugs, I'll interrupt myself and point them out. Going back to what I was saying, I'm a big fan of stealth games. If you've been watching my Grand Theft Auto series, you'll hear me mistakenly say Metal Gear once or twice instead of Grand Theft Auto because there's a certain mission where you gotta be stealthy or something like that, or what have you, and I'm reminded of Metal Gear for some reason. Anyways, the reason I brought that up is because while I'm a big fan of stealth, I don't believe games like this, these RPGs, are meant to be stealth games. I'm of the mindset that these games have this situation where you're supposed to be out in the open. Well, in quotation marks, mind you. You're supposed to be out there and dual-wielding katanas, spinning around in circles, shredding the enemies to little itty-bitty pieces. Anyways, I got distracted because I saw those two individuals roaming. I can't even PvP try them because I'm a 5 and they're 4. Follow closely behind and see if, when they level up, if I can bait them into attacking and see how the PvP works. Not exactly that I care, but I do have to get in a little bit of combat situations to try and test out how everything works. Well, maybe not works, but if I come across any bugs during this free play moment. I keep saying free play, but it's a week long time of being free to play for this game, for all the different modes they have. So that's pretty cool. But the main reason they're doing this, if it's not obvious enough, is to get people to purchase the game for individuals like me, because I like this game. Not gonna lie, mind you, it's been a few minutes. I say a few minutes. It's been what, 3 hours? Literally 3 hours. But these are the kind of games that I can sink so much time into, primarily due to the fact that, as you can see from my rambling, I get distracted easily, right? So I could just spend hours upon hours in this world and have a blast. But the issues begin to arise where 20, 25, 30 hours in, I start getting glitches that really start to frustrate me. That's the problem. I haven't been playing this game that long. Only 3 hours. And sure, yeah, you're going to have a blast for the first 3 hours of any game you play. Potentially. I say any, but it's son of a gun. It's not necessarily 100% truthful that you'll have fun with any game you play for 3 hours. The point I am trying to make, though, is I'm the kind of person that you put a game in front of me, I can play it, and I can have fun from it. How long that fun lasts, because of the game components and mechanics, depends entirely on that. So, I could have fun with this game for 20 hours, but the minute I come across a game-breaking bug, or an obvious pay-to-win thing, or something like that, my enjoyment of the game immediately starts to decline. Because I'm the kind of person that will spend hours and hours and hours grinding in a game that I like, just so I don't have to spend any actual money. When you put something into a game that no matter how much grinding you do, you will never be able to get, no matter what missions you complete or what have you, you'll be in this situation where every single where was I? My brain just totally died on me. Wow. Let's listen to the Overseer's journal entry. Wow, that's the first time that's happened in a while. Oh, wow. I didn't realize that's interesting.
Overseer's log, or should I say, direct communication. Because who...
Is that because I didn't listen to them all the way, or is it because it's part of this quest?
Sorry it's been so long, but I couldn't get away. I know neither of you is around to hear this, but...
Well, this is sad.
I miss watching Dad grade papers on the living room table.
Also, I have some complaints.
Listening to the silver shroud. Dad, you were right about what living underground would really be like. 25 years locked in with the same people was...
With how old she's supposed to be and how old she sounds like she's...
married, have children.
like in her 60s or 70s. Son of a... that made me jump. That actually made me jump. The way she's talking makes it sound like she was a little girl. If you're trying to tell me she was 14, between 14 or 18, let's say she was 20, and she's 45 right now, wow, time as the Overseer was not kind to her for 25 years, if that's the case. But if you want to assume that she was older, then she was either living with her parents at that old of an age, like in her 20s or 30s, or she's talking about the time she would visit. If it's talking about the time she would visit, okay, I can understand it more. But if it's talking more along the lines of she was a younger girl, then I don't care what your excuse is. I want to know what the heck happened in the vault to make her, as a 30 or 40-year-old, sound like she's 60 or 70. Aside from the occasional oh, that's because I'm over encumbered now because I ran out of time on the ribeye steak. So that's something I'm gonna have to consume again to renew it on, or just drop a couple things, and I'm not dropping anything. What's the ribeye? Let's choke one of these down. Something to keep in mind about food perks, temporary perks like this, they don't stack. So if you have a situation where you're coming across like multiple different food buffs and there's going to be overlapping ones, always choose the one that's going to give you the most time or the best overall benefit, because otherwise you're just going to be wasting your other food items and wasting those buffs. That's less game advice for this game in particular, and more advice overall for any game you play in the future. Pay attention to what exactly the buff is saying it's doing, and how long it's affecting what it's buffing for. So, say you have one piece of food or something like that, that buffs your attack or your strength by 10 for an hour, right? And you have another piece of meat that buffs your strength by 10% for 30 minutes. I rolled my eyes there because it's just a generic thing I could think of. The idea is, I'm going to ask you the question of what's stronger, and if you could explain to me why excuse me, why it's stronger for that reason. So, like, you would need to know how much strength you have to begin with. If I have 10 strength and I'm getting a plus 10, then you want to use the plus 10 buff every time until you get over 100 strength. Because if you use the 10% strength, you're only getting a plus 1 to your strength. Now, if it was something else like plus 110%, then you would want to do that because you're getting 11 strength instead, I believe, if my math's working out correctly. But the thing to do is don't just see numbers and then immediately decide to go with that buff because it sounds better. Always take into account what's going on, and oh my goodness, and then do with your buffs that way. How many ghouls are there? I need to get out of here. I'm getting surrounded by these enemies, and I need to get out of here. I'm gonna die in a minute. Jesus! How many ghouls are in that building? Reloading. Oh, hey, I missed damage. That's cool. That's that perk. That's the second time that perk's come into play. Okay, that was a nerve-wracking experience. Anyways, the perfect example of what I'm talking about right now. The fact that I wasn't running that entire time. I was not running. I was moving fast, but I was not running. So getting the plus 15 buff or damage resistance. Oh my goodness, that is a really good weapon. That is a really good legendary pistol. It shoots 2 at a time and they explode. Okay, anyways, as I was saying, I'm gonna level up now. I'll show you right here. Serendipity. I'm gonna actually upgrade Serendipity, I think, because oh my lord. Oh my god. Right here. This is a perfect example of what I was talking about. If I had gotten the other perk, I probably would have died there, potentially, because that just avoided damage completely. I'm definitely getting that upgraded to a 30% chance. And I'm going to equip it. So, right here. This inspect. This gained 15 damage and energy resistance while sprinting. That whole time I was in that fight, I think I sprinted once. And that was to get away from them. If I had done that and it was a gunfight, maybe then it would... It's luck? No, it's perception. Okay. I finally have pick locking 1. That's good. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, and I got the just a 15% chance to get no damage at all, because with the 15 damage resistance, you're still taking damage. With the perk that I have, it's just a flat. You don't get no damage whatsoever, and that's awesome. I am gonna end it here because we're on 23 minutes right now, and I will see you in the next part. I'm actually having a fun time explaining this stuff. It's not really pertinent to... Actually, it is pertinent to the game overall. Anyways, I will see you in a few.